since the MPL. And right now, we are going in. On the play, it's going to be Omega Esports. Todak answering back. First ban by Omega. It's going to be the Natalia.
Well, definitely we talked a little bit about the Natalia being a really great assassin to just go around to pick off any sort of member that he can, and it's so pesky to deal against that, so you definitely want that being removed from the map. And with that being said, you won't be even seeing those sort of the tank Natalia cheese coming out your way.
Oh yeah, I think that the fact that it's the Natalia first that they ban out is they're afraid of the flexibility. Again, you mentioned the tank Natalia, but we haven't gotten into what we would like to call the support Natalia or the roaming Natalia.
That's right, and that is equally as vicious as well. But Esmeralda is definitely that sort of a pick that has been very prominent even in your normal rank plays when you queue in towards the Land of Dawn. So Esmeralda having this big fat shield, and you can just easily dive in with the Falling Star Moon, so you definitely don't want to be having that sort of problem in towards the mid to late game phase.
You already mentioned it, man. This hero, we've had her for a while now, and there was a time wherein people would play Hylos just the neutralizer. You know, the confirmed stun really helps in stopping the Purifier, at least mitigating that effect. But until today, she's just a menace. Looking at Omega Esports, they go ahead and ban out the Matilda. Have you seen your fair share of Matilda?
We've seen a couple of all these sort of games, and I definitely think that she can definitely get around the map pretty well as well. And in terms of team fight, she sets it up pretty perfectly in a sort of sense. But it does take quite an effort to be executing in a great perfection. But when she gets into towards a really good position to just put you off, it's going to be ultra dangerous for any teams to be facing off against. So having Matilda off is definitely going to be pretty much a safe way to go. So now, Todak's turn to ban. They still have 2 more to go as they're taking their sweet time. And it seems like they will be taking out the Yuzong.
Ooh, Yuzong here. This is a Curtizi special. And I do think what these two teams, correct me if I'm wrong, Contra, I don't know if you agree with me, but what they're doing is they're just covering their bases. They're not attacking any strategy or any player specifically. This is just good heroes that they're taking out.
Exactly, and I definitely think that some of them are really, really strong. They could definitely sustain all by themselves. And speaking of which, we also have Brody being removed from play.
Oh.
I definitely think this is necessary. It's so annoying to deal against Brody, and the range is absolutely nuts. It gets so frustrating if he is ahead, and if he's behind, he just waits it out and he gets back at you in towards the late game phase.
Yep.
So I definitely think this is definitely a smart move coming from Omega.
Yeah, it's a hero that just breaks the rules of traditional MOBA, right? Like a marksman of this caliber should have a weak early game, but Brody has no such thing. Brody just marks people and is able to burst you down like what, 3 or 4 auto attacks in. It's ridiculous.
It just melts you like butter, and whoa. Okay, I believe that's a Lapu Lapu. Is that right?
It is arguably one of the winners of a patch that came down maybe a month or 2 ago, and he has been owning the off lane. He has been taking people down, whether it's from the EXP lane or from the gold lane. This hero right here is just a damage dealing machine. I put him in the same category as 2 other heroes. I put him in the same bunch as Benedetta and Lancelot. Benedetta just has more utility, and Lancelot just has more mobility and damage. Lapu Lapu kind of like puts those 2 worlds together.
Yeah, and he definitely is that sort of bully that you don't want to be messing with, especially that he could possibly outlast many other fighters out there, or even some, say, tanks. Now, we do have the very first pick coming in for Omega Esports, and that's going to be the Jawhead being picked up here.
All right, you know what? I like this Jawhead, given that, yes, it's an okay tank these days, maybe only second to a Kai, but Jawhead here is going to be key to exploiting one of those weaknesses or those keys to victory for any team facing off against Todak.
That's right.
It's choking out Chiku's buffs.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely going to be a really much of a big concern, especially if he can actually get those ejectors off on the right target. Oh, boy. Definitely Todak will be running for their life. But Moon here is looking for pickoffs as he does secure a Selena on hand. And, well, we do have the Khalid.
That's going to be possibly on Stu in the XP lane, but could also be a flex for tank. I do like me some Khalid tank. That quicksand guard is, for the lack of a better term, broken.
Yeah.
Besides CC, he can just stand there and peel.
That's right. Like he could just peel, and as well as you know, taking some hits and still be pretty much okay. He could just use his ult to, you know, dash away with that sand wave, you know?
Yeah. The Rampaging Sandstorm is both an engagement tool and a disengagement tool, and the fact that it's AoE stun is just beyond me. Now we're waiting for 2 more picks here from Omega Esports, and Contra, did you notice the Benedetta was not banned at all? So Benedetta is opened up, going over, I believe, in the XP lane for Curtizi, and Hajizi gets the Yusun Shin, which, by the way, does not expose. It's not an all-in choice. It can be good at any point in the game, given that you have the ultimate that opens up the map.
That's right, and I really do think that with Curtizi here, having that Benedetta as well, this is definitely going to be a really good sort of way for them to actually get in and out of the fight as well. So I would really wonder on how that lane going to be played out in that sort of sense. Is it going to be that Khalid versus this Benedetta that will possibly be holding in towards the early game? And with that, do you actually favor the Benedetta or perhaps the Khalid?
That's the thing, is the Khalid can go forever, but the Benedetta has just on a higher uptime. Like, without Rampaging Sandstorm, Stu is just better off staying in his lane, right? But Benedetta can just call it quits. Curtizi can just call it and say, you know what, I'm done here. Like, I'm not gaining anything from you. This lane is effectively dead, so I'm going to go ahead and visit mid. Let's see what Hajizi's up to. So I think that's what's going to happen. But right now, going into the second phase of banning, we're waiting on Todak. What else is missing from Omega Esports? They need a mid laner, and there's one taken out, Luoyi.
Oh man, Luoyi definitely is going to be pretty much of a disruption, especially when you could just teleport away with the ultimate in that sort of sense. So with that being removed, they definitely would have actually have less of worries, but Link being banned away is definitely going to be a really interesting ban, because Omega Esports, do correct me if I'm wrong, but they do use Link for themselves too. But if they were to be getting that Link for themselves, it will be pretty much of a greedy pick, knowing that Todak now does have the priority.
Yep. And I think there will be no room for the Ling, given that Yusun Shin is already here, unless this is a side lane Yusun Shin. Gold lane Yusun Shin is not unheard of, not impossible, but I think that, yeah, it is a little too tight. It is a little too tight.
Yeah.
So yeah, they take out the Link themselves, while on the other hand, last ban for Todak is going to be the Farsa. I think they are just on a one-track mind right now. Yelly Haze, you're not going to get any of these good mid-heroes.
Yeah, I definitely think that Farsa is a very safe way to go for Todak. They already have a very clear mind of what they want. They want to force them in towards the corner or just going for the pickups. You can see every single one of the heroes that Todak has picked right here is capable of a very easy dive. So they can all move in together, have that sort of mobility to just get back out as well. And if they keep going in for those pickup, I think that Omega Esports might be bleeding out if they were to be punished for it.
Yep, this is essentially MOBA fundamentals. It's the battle of yin and yang. It's the dive comp versus the poke comp, and we're here seeing them complete both their puzzles. 2 more picks per side, and we have Todak going for 1 more here. They're lacking a solid tank. I wonder what E1 has left in the tank. Get it? He's the tank player.
Yeah, I'm pretty much getting it right in. So, you know, back in the days when Grok used to be a thing, he was one of the best Grok players around. But now that that's off the table, maybe a Boxia or who knows, Gato Gacha could even be working in a certain way. But I'm not even sure if that's the case. But okay, and we are going to be getting Formation with the Cho. Tank Cho? Possible?
Or another side laner, right? This is the Todak formula. Still a strong believer in the 1-3-1, which, by the way, I still believe is just as impressive. Still efficient. I mean, the whole XP lane and gold lane from Project Next should not have killed the strategy. If anything, it made it better.
Oh, indeed. And, you know, it would be even more interesting if all of them actually go on like a full offense build and just try to go all in on this one. But of course, somebody's got to neutralize it at one point, and Ruby's going to be coming into the picture alongside with an Eudora. So let's talk through this, all right? So I definitely think that there's a whole lot of crowd control coming in from Omega Esports to actually suppress all these Server V firepower coming in from the side of Todak. But the answer with the Akai.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do believe this is the best tank in the game right now. Given how outplays are all the more possible, you have a solid body, and the damage output, it's not nothing. So yeah, this is going to be Tank Akai, 2 side laners in Cho, and Khalid for Todak. While Omega Esports, you did mention they have a solid amount of CC, and I do understand it's more of just targeted CC. It's single point and click precision CC coming in from Omega Esports, and now, ladies and gentlemen, it's just a matter of time.